Hi, this is Mitch Mitchell once again, and I've got a question for you. How do you think the way that you accept things in your mind, whether it's good impetus or bad impetus, affects you? How does it make you feel? How does it make you think? The reason I asked that question is because I was thinking about Dr. Phil. Yeah, I don't get to watch Dr. Phil now as I'm doing all this traveling, but I used to love to watch Dr. Phil when I was at home. And one of the things he used to always say is that people will behave and act in a certain manner because they get something from it. They don't always know how to identify what they're getting from it, but they must be getting what they need from it. Otherwise, they would change their behavior. And I found that a very interesting thought because one of the things my wife loves to say all the time is that we all get to decide how we react to certain things. And it's a very interesting statement that she makes because I understand her point. But last week, when I got to the hotel and they hadn't been able to find my clothes, my wife was way more upset than I was. And then she was upset at me for not being more upset that my clothes were missing. And I thought that was very interesting. And my thought at the time was, well, they've lost my clothes before. As a matter of fact, it turns out that I guess I'm the only guest whose clothes they ever lost the first time, let alone twice. And, I didn't get upset. I just kind of took it in stride. I figured, well, either they'll find it or they'll buy me more clothes like they did the last time. So I took it that way because it kept me from being upset. I'm one of those people where when I start getting depressed over anything, I get really quiet. I don't want to talk to anybody. I won't even talk to my wife. I kind of shrink off. I don't do email. I don't do much writing. I may do a lot of reading, or I'll just basically waste time. I may even just lay in bed staring at stuff or playing a game of Sudoku. I don't even know if that's how you say that. But, I made this decision late last year, that I wanted to feel better. I wanted to feel good. I wanted to be happy as often as I can. And it does change your mood. It changes your outlook on things. And I think that I produce some better things because I am in a better mood most of the time. And I chose to get that way. And then I went to find things that help me to get that way. Now, it doesn't mean that every once in a while I don't get into a negative position or, something doesn't upset me. We all get upset over weird things. And the thought is that we don't want to stay in those places if we can help it. But I'm betting that there's a lot of you out there who know someone who, for lack of a better term, is a negative Nancy or a Dora Downer, or there's got to be one of those terms for men. I've just never heard one, but still, they're always thinking the worst of everything. There's nothing good that's ever going to come out of anything. And I see that happen a lot with people who are very political, and every once in a while, some people who consider themselves very religious. A lot of those people don't necessarily seem to be happy. And okay, politics, I don't think anyone's ever happy, but religion, my thought had always been that people get into religions that make them feel better, make them happy. And yet, you don't seem to see that as often. There's a lot of people who are angry about one thing or another. Either they're angry because there's people who are doing things they don't like, or there's people who don't like what they do, and then that makes them angry. And, I've got this thought that basically says, not only do we all need to try to find ways to get along, I think I said that in one of these previous videos, but we have to figure out what it is that will make us feel better and then aim for that. Now, this is just my thought. Like I said, I know some people who are just negative, 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 and they must be getting something out of that. I know that there are people who get happy when they can make other people miserable. I have never really been able to understand that. What is the point of beating someone else down just to build yourself up? It can't last. I mean, you can't just keep beating everyone else down. Now, if you're a top athlete and you're looking to beat everyone all the time, well, that's a different story because that's the art of competition. And I'm one of those people, I love competition. I used to love to play sports. But at a certain point, I realized that I was getting mad when I wasn't winning all the time. And not just winning, I wanted to crush. And so I was just one of those types of people. And, I got to 19 and I said, I'm really not good at this thing. I'm very good at winning, but I'm not a good winner. In other words, I wasn't one of those people who beat everyone else down and said, yeah, I'm better than you. I wasn't one of those guys. I was not a bad sport in that regard. I was a bad sport when people scored, or if people made the game close, or if I didn't think my performance was great. That's when I was a bad sport. And I didn't like that, so I changed things up and decided for a while, you know what, you need to back off of some of that. So, you know, I became more calm and a steadier force, and I think I was better to be around because, you know, when I didn't crush, then I would brood about it, and I would sit there and think about, geez, if I had done this, they wouldn't have scored that point, and whatever. And that wasn't what it was about. Now, let me lose at something. Actually, you know what? I was a better loser than I was a winner. Because I don't know why I didn't beat myself up on different things when I couldn't win. For instance, I was on tons of bowling teams that finished, you know, down near the bottom because I couldn't control that. I was on a lot of baseball teams over the years where the team just couldn't do it. There was nothing I could do to elevate the team. So it was mainly in individual things, you know, one-on-one basketball, tennis, things like that, where, you know, I just didn't like it. So, you know, we all get something out of it. Sometimes it motivates us, or sometimes it just makes us cruel. And sometimes it makes us happy, depending on what it is that you do. Let me ask you, how do you think you are? How do you think you react to things? Would you rather be happy more often than negative? I think it's a fair question to ask. Think about it a little bit. And by the way, you can either ask me to help you to be a happier person, because, you know, that's one of the things I do. Or I have a friend of mine, and if you ask me, I'll tell you about him. He actually writes something every day that's called a daily dose of vitamin K. And he's a pretty positive guy. As a matter of fact, he calls himself the Prince of Positive. So there you go. And, you know, his idea is the same kind of as mine, where it's better to look at things and try to find the good out of them so that you feel better. When you feel better, you do better. That's all I have to say. So leave me a comment. Let me know what your thoughts are. And tomorrow is going to be the long video. Just can't help it. Tomorrow is anniversary number 13 for my business. So I will see y'all tomorrow. Enjoy.